I see a whole lot of smack talk, a whole lot of excitement, some smack talk from other people, not too many questions because today is a day of celebration, my friends. So here is DeMeco on the rushing performance today and on getting running back Damien Pierce back on track.
We had to run the ball efficiently. And it starts with the offensive line, the way they blocked up front, tight ends, the way our backs ran, right? Especially, Damien, the way he ran his best game this year was awesome to see. Him just continue to press forward. When he got the ball, he had I will not be denied mentality. And it showed. And it showed from our entire offense, right? When the running game gets going, it just opens up a lot of other things, allowing us to right, hit some explosive passes, right? With Nico having a really big game, CJ continuing to do well, right? It's all a credit to the run game. And I'm excited for where we are in the run game right now.
Okay, hey, you know what we saw yesterday? It'd be interesting to go back and look at the numbers on this. But when we talk about the run game and the pass game being tied together, look at the times that the Texans did run the boot where CJ had nothing but green grass and or field turf in front of him because defensive ends had to respect the run. They were able to suck those guys down into the core, and CJ was able to fly out with nobody containing him. We weren't getting that those first couple weeks, especially, and not as much last week, just because nobody really respected the run. So like that's where it gets exciting because then you get the true. You've got the defense on a string, and you can just kind of pull them whichever way you want. That's when the offense really starts to get magical. So yesterday, that was really nice to see. Next question is on the offense not giving up a sack for the second straight week.
Right, we know we had our hands full, right? Highsmith and Watt, two of the best edge rushers in the league. So we knew we had our hands full. And again, I always go back to it doesn't matter who's out there. You protect together. All 11 guys, that's how you protect. Starting with the O-line, tight ends, backs, but also it's the quarterback and the receivers getting the ball out, running your routes with the proper timing, quarterback getting the ball out on time. All of that goes into play with protecting. And I thought overall, collectively, as the offensive unit, we played really well in stifling their pass rush.
So as far as that goes, there were times where at left tackle there was some misses and whiffs, and in another couple of positions. That's when it mattered that CJ Stroud was able to get rid of the ball, that the receivers were they supposed to be, all that. That's all starting to come together. But yeah, and I probably shouldn't have mentioned that first because I don't want to take anything away from the performance of the offensive line. There's no reason those guys should be playing as well as they have been. I'm including the fact that I think Bobby Slowick and Chris Strausser, the offensive coordinator and the offensive line coach, have done an incredible job of scheming up some pretty either unique or unorthodox pass protections at times. At some points, they've thrown 8 guys into pass protection. At other times, they've been able to spread it out more. And they've varied a whole lot. And that's taxing for offensive linemen. It's not as simple as, hey, we're going to do 19 different funky things, guys. Just go out and run it. That's hard to do. But they've done it as a unit. And they've also performed better individually than I would have thought. Kendrick Green at left guard has been much better here. And it doesn't have to do with scheme because pass protection is pass protection. Whether it's a zone scheme or a gap scheme like the Steelers, Kendrick Green was despised up in Pittsburgh. And honestly, he played very, very poorly his rookie year, but he was trying to play center as a rookie with Ben Roethlisberger as his quarterback. And it was really, really rough. Didn't play at all last year. And then comes in and starts a game versus the Steelers in which the Texans outrush the Steelers when the game really mattered by a large degree, and where CJ Stroud doesn't get sacked. So, I mean, I hope his knee is okay. I hope it's not a big deal. They may have put news out about it already, but it was just a hell of a performance by all those guys. Everybody that Coach just mentioned.
I think what they've done the last 2 weeks to help you win these 2 games.
So Grenard's 4th down sack there in the second half when the Steelers fans and radio hosts this morning are furious, irate that the Steelers elected to put it on Kenny Pickett in the gun on that play. So that was that's just fun. It's fun making other people miserable. I don't know if that's in the Bible or not, but that's my personal motto.
excited to see JG get that sack. He missed one earlier, so he owed us one. So he came up big time for us at the right moment, big time moment. It was huge for him to get that one. So excited for what he continues to bring as a pass rusher. And for our coaching staff, right? And it's credit to all our guys and the work that they put in and no one sees behind the scenes, right? What I love about our coaching staff is no one complains about who's out there. And we've had a lot of injuries, a lot of things. Nobody complains. Everybody just keeps pressing forward. Everybody just keeps working, right, with the guys who are up. And it's a relentless mindset from our coaches. And starting offensively, starting with Bobby, thought he did a really nice job calling the game today. Credit to him and his staff and how he had the guys prepared versus a really tough defense. And to see them go out and have the outing that they have today is a credit to Bobby and his staff. And defensively, Coach Burke and the staff. Again, same thing. Doesn't matter who's out there. They had the guys prepared, had the guys ready to play. And I'm really thankful for the coaches that we have on our staff. They've done an excellent job.
Okay. I have to address this comment because it caught my eye. And I shouldn't be I shouldn't have such a negative bias towards seeking out this. I'm more curious about this. I love to see folks like Seth having to eat crow. They have to admit that we have an awesome team. I love it. I'm not sure, retired Row, that you might need to go back to work on you might retired Row. Are you aware of what the term eating crow means? If so, please explain how it applies here. I don't feel like I'm eating crow. Huh. It's interesting. It's an interesting worldview. Also, the other one that caught my eye, let's see. Love your comment on wide receivers blocking. I said that on the radio this morning too. Safeties are also throwing their bodies in there. Will we get rid of the guys who are not embracing the next man up in the offseason? I don't know. That's interesting. I don't know. I'm sure everybody's so new anyway that I don't feel like there's an old guard that has to get thrown out or anything. I feel like people have embraced the next man up pretty well here so far.
How does that feel to you just personally?
So how does it feel on being able to give the fans their first home win since 2021 and the first back-to-back win since 2021?
It feels awesome to get a win, right? And that's what we're here to do, right? Me coming here taking this job, this is how we want to play football. We want to play winning football. And it starts with the guys in that locker room. I'm proud of what they've done, the work that they put in throughout the week, right? We're grinding through some hot days here in Houston. Nobody's complaining. Everybody's working, right, pressing forward, doing what they need to do, right, to get results on Sunday. And I'm proud of our guys, proud of our staff, everybody, right? If we keep playing the way we're playing, the results will come. So we're not focused on the results, just focus on the process, and we keep that mindset, it'll all take care of itself.
So was that Bob Slovak, I think? You said, how much more special is this win with your former teammate, J.J. Watt, going into the Ring of Honor?
With J.J. Watt, it's credit to J.J., his career and what he's done. Excited for him. A huge honor for his name to go up in the rafters of the stadium. It's going to be an inspiration to a lot of people when they look up and see his name. It's well-deserved. J.J., great man, great player, right? And just an inspiration to many. So congratulations to J.J. He definitely deserves it. It's great seeing all the former guys here today rooting us on.
Okay, so no!
Forward. We begin with the tribute.
Son of a bitch. There's JJ. Let's see if we get it. If you think about the way that we might have been looking at it in the preseason when you weren't sure how long it might take for this team to get respectable. I've been very, very, very optimistic about DeMeco. If I'm eating crow at all, it's that this has happened. Some of the things that DeMeco and Bobby Slowick have wanted to do are happening ahead of schedule. There's some teams that don't really pick up this offense until year 2 when a Kubiak-Shanahan system comes in. So it's the compression of the timetable so far through 4 weeks and how quickly CJ has done it. That's been a surprise to me. I'll eat crow on that. I predicted that it would happen, but I didn't think it was going to happen this quickly. That part is really cool. Okay, so Kim asks out, how important was it for you to actually score on the first drive? I know we've got a few fans from opposing teams in here, so I have to explain this to you and give it some context. You might think, that's a weird question. No. The Texans went through a stretch. Somebody remind me in the comments of how long it was where they did not score on the first drive forever. And this is when Deshaun Watson was here. Like, even as Deshaun Watson was putting up really, really good numbers and the offense was somewhat respectable, they could not score on the first drive. And it was infuriating. It was so frustrating. So for them to go down and to score 3 times, really, I honestly, you're only supposed to overturn if there's like undeniable evidence, and somehow they overturn a touchdown and then spot the ball on the half-inch line. Go die. So like that part, that's why it's important. Like the Texans fans to be able to actually watch a team march down and score on the first drive. DeMeco's likely not aware of that, or like of how. I doubt he's aware of the actual fact that that used to be a thing, and he would have no way of knowing just how frustrating that is as a fan.
Yeah, I think that first drive, it really helped us, right, offensively. We've been having a few slow starts, right, coming out, so that really helped us even with the penalties and being able to move back. A couple of times there, we were hurting ourselves. When we've been in those positions before, we've not scored, right? It's turned into a field goal, or we just hurt ourselves so many times. But to see us get better in that position, we needed to score in the red zone, and for us to score multiple times and get it called back, I think it was really momentum shift for our offense, right? And they knew they could put the ball in the end zone. And when you see that multiple times, it just gained more confidence. And I think that's what helped them a lot throughout the game. They knew they had confidence to put the ball in the end zone and move the ball. And that spurred a lot of movement throughout the game, right? We controlled it there at the end. I love the fourth quarter drive there. We held it, we ran the ball, when we needed to run the ball and burn the clock. So it was really awesome to see our offense work the way they did today.
I think another thing when it comes to things that have seemed to have happened at an accelerated pace, week 1, the Texans were trying to do a whole bunch of pre-snap motion, a lot of the exotic stuff, or at least more complicated stuff, and it was a disaster. So CJ, burned timeouts to avoid delay of games. There were 2 pre-snap penalties. It was bad. Weeks 2 and 3, they went away from that some. I'll have to look and see in terms of pre-snap motion and everything what the percentages were like yesterday, but it wasn't just pre-snap motion, but like the complexity of it. There was that one play before the end around on the first drive that Tank Dell had. He went in motion, like came across in front of CJ, circled back around, then did like another loop to loop and then to an end around. In a way that when Tank Dell is doing it, it's just different. It's different than when Noah Brown is doing it. Like defenses, put yourself in the shoes of a defensive back who's got Tank Dell in man coverage, or maybe if you're shifting, if you're switching whose responsibility it'll be in zone. When you've got somebody like Tank Dell who's just faster than guys you typically see on a Sunday, flying across the formation like that, it puts stress on the defense. And that's one thing like DeMeco and Bobby Slowick both understand because they've worked on both sides of the ball. Like the actual pit in your stomach that you get when you realize like, oh man, I'm in a bind here. And like they've done that much, much better over the course of the last 2 weeks. I thought they did it yesterday way better than they had all season. So like that's the stuff that they've identified these issues and they've fixed them. It's just really cool to see. So this is Cody Davis asking about the improvement of the linebackers, especially Henry To'oTo'o and Christian Harris.
With Henry and Christian, they're continuing to get better, every week in practice, just watching them work together, right? Watching them lean on each other, right? Very similar to how they played at Alabama. Both guys leaning on each other, and they're young players, right? There are going to be some bumps in the road, but I'm encouraged with their progress, right? Not only in the game, but just seeing them progress through the week on things we've been trying to teach them, right? They're getting better. And that's all I can ask for. And I'm proud of both of those guys, the way they're continue to step up and improve each week.
Yeah, I think, look, there's instances where they're still sitting back a little too much, playing too passively at times. But there's more instances, especially with Henry To'oTo'o yesterday. I haven't watched specifically for the linebackers yet, but there's more flash positive plays I think with each successive week, especially last week, there was a step forward with Henry, and then this week again. I think Henry's done some really good things in coverage. It's just like DeMeco's going to have a high standard, and he should. I mean, both those guys are capable of more than what they've shown so far. But the trajectory right now is good, and I feel good about that. I think they're in a tough spot because they're young linebackers playing in a defense where they expect the defensive lineman to get upfield, disrupt, like just create chaos. And the defensive line is doing that pretty well for the most part. But there's times where you just love to have an old school big space eater up front that offensive linemen have to stick on, and that guy can hold those defensive linemen. If they could command double teams more often, it would make it a lot easier for those guys. So it's going to be it's just kind of, it's trying to teach somebody how to draw a painting of a motion picture. There's a lot going on right there, and they lack the skills right now to just really focus in and dial in. But Henry Toa flashed big a couple times yesterday. Oh, and Christian Harris. Did you see the one? It was nice to have Jalen Petrie back, but especially not just for the plays he made, but when Christian Harris came up and really stuck Pickett, I think, right? Jalen Petrie went crazy. Like Jalen Petrie went absolutely nuts over it. And it was just that kind of passion and energy. It was really nice to see. So Brooks Cabina is asking about having multiple score leads at halftime. How does it happen, and what is the importance of it?
All right. These past two games, we've had leads, but it all goes to execution, right? When our guys execute, that's when you score points. It's all just about execution. There's nothing glamorous. There's nothing special about it. Everybody just going out, executing, doing their job, and that's doing their part. That's what it is. That's what turns into points, and that's what I'm pleased with.
So he was asking DeMeco on these fourth down calls involving the offense seems to just stay out of the huddle with the offense and let them do their work. Is it because of his confidence in them?
Yeah, I have full confidence in Bobby. When we go for fourth down, I'm confident in our offense. I believe that they can get it. Sometimes we convert, sometimes we won't, but that doesn't stop my belief in our unit and what they're capable of doing.